The question is about who I am myself, and where did I go to school. All my schooling, I'm happy and to say, was in the Catholic tradition, both in grammar school and then in seminary, in both preparatory seminary in New York, which produced, in retrospect, excellent classical education. You learned Latin, you learned Greek, you learned French, you learned history, you learned... I'm very thankful in retrospect for that. I didn't have to learn all those later. And then in New York and then in Rome at the Gregorian University, I became ordained a priest in 1963 and was in a parish in Stamford, Connecticut, but only for 1 year, so I can't claim to have much pastoral experience. And have since then been in the academy and teaching and writing in theology. In my early work, the greatest influence on me was the great philosopher and theologian, a Jesuit, Bernard Lonergan, to whom I'm enormously grateful for the many things he made me do that I probably on my own I would not have done. I have a great love of literature and the arts, but not of the sciences. And he really made me learn, certainly not all, but to learn the sciences well enough to understand a good deal of the modern world, and I've been very thankful for that. I repeat, it's probably not something I would have done on my own. He was, in my opinion, a man of extraordinary intelligence, both in philosophy and theology, and my interest in method, which continues for philosophy and theology, probably came from him. For myself as a Catholic scholar, it's true the most important question at the moment, because I'm writing books on it and because it's been my principal question for at least 12 years, is the question of God and how we name God, how we understand God, who God is for us. That's certainly not a question that only a Catholic can ask or would ask, but it's a question that the Catholic tradition and more broadly the Christian tradition, because I believe that serious theology today is in the genuine sense ecumenical. We learn from any aspect of the Christian tradition which can teach us, especially on the question of God. I've learned as much from Luther on the hiddenness of God as I had from great Catholic mystics on the incomprehensibility of God. I've learned from the Eastern Orthodox tradition on how one both affirms the negative or apophatic namings of God and the Trinitarian namings of God, more than I've learned from the Western tradition on that central issue. So I think as a Catholic theologian, one of the I've more and more thought one of the helpful things about it, very helpful, is that precisely Catholicism at its best is between the Protestant traditions, Christian traditions in the West and all their differences, and the Orthodox traditions in the East, and moves both ways. And personally, I love that, because Catholic for me means Roman Catholic, of course, that's who I am, but at the same time it means Catholic in the sense of universal, and that Christian theology, I think today, and certainly in the future, if it's to be serious, wherever it's principally located, will be genuinely Christian, Catholic in that sense, and ecumenical. And as a Catholic, I've always felt it a great blessing that I find no difficulty moving either to Protestant theology and learning from it, or to Orthodox theology and learning from it. And I like that about the Catholic tradition.